What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony and Mike, and we are discussing episode 4 of season 2 of Shadow and Bone.
Leverage Ketterdam.
Yeah. I was like, we can't even go in order with this one because we have to talk about Kaz motherfucking Brecker and his plan of execution. Like he basically took the last plan that Pekka fucked up. He was like, okay, I see you and I raise you. And I will make sure that you have no leverage, that you cannot fuck this up. Kaz played this plan fucking perfect.
Yeah. And it's like I almost believe that he kind of underhandedly coerced her to go to the fights and see him, because she knew that she was going to be calling it, that she was going to like expose herself to Pekka and put herself in that situation. Like I almost think that Kaz kind of put her there like kind of edged her there on purpose, because he knew that was going to happen.
That seems plausible.
Well, he did warn her. He said, make sure you kind of don't draw attention to yourself, because he will be looking for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, he knew she couldn't hurt. He knew she couldn't control herself. That's a man. He couldn't talk on well. So as soon as she saw it, because she hadn't seen him since before he went to Hellgate. And it's like as soon as she saw him, he knew that she wasn't going to be able to control her emotions, because it's like she saw her, she was just yelling. I was like, just like we said last time, I was like, shh, like, he's right there. Mm-hmm. Like Pekka Rollins was like right there. You're over there calling to him, and he's like, this is kind of interesting.
But that's okay, because it did what it needed for him to follow through with that plan. I mean, I tell you, like I said, the way his facial expressions were in the last episode and then watching them in this episode, like there was one instance where he had a little bit of a smile, and that was the exchange that he had with Jesper, where Jesper was like, so what you're going to say is that you can't do this without me and blah, 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 and all that stuff. When Cass was like, there is a tab on, there is a limit on the tab, but everything else is true. And he just kind of gave that little smirk, just a very, very tiny smile to let Jesper know we are good. But other than that, Cass, let me tell you, when he laid down the one thing that he knew was going to get Pekka to kind of drop everything, he was like, yeah, your other Kalish prince. And just the look on his face, he was like, oh, I buried him. I almost believe that Kaz did that. His facial expressions and the way man, let me tell you.
He said he had a good poker face.
He does. But again, he also had that look of somebody who was beginning to lose his grip. And I think he played that perfectly, because Pekka was looking like, oh, you wouldn't do that. He was like, oh, yeah, he was like, he went into that box so easily. The only time he even cried was when I pulled this out. I was like, Cass has lost it. Look at his eyes. That is a crazy man behind. He was like, no, I'm about to play this to a T. When I tell you, that whole scene, that whole thing was perfect, except for the fact that Inej was not there to see him make Pekka give her freedom. I was like, oh.
That's why he was mad that she wasn't there. He wanted her to be there.
But I mean, he also told her at the beginning, he was like, it would really mean a lot to me to have you there in the shadows. He had to say that in the shadows really quickly to kind of, not make it seem like, oh, I need you there. And she was like, I wouldn't miss it. But when he did that, like right before he told her, when he pulled the forms out, he looked over there to the side where Jesper and Nina were, and he didn't see Inej. And I was like my heart broke. But he was like, yeah, confession for the murder of Tantaline and the stab watch Captain? He was like, and a quitclaim deed for Inej Gafar. Sign him. And I was like, I wish Inej had been there. I wish I could have seen the look on her face. I wish I could have seen the realization that for Kaz, that was all but a declaration of love. Like, he can't say it any other plainer. I told you I would not let you go back to the menagerie. I'm making good on my promise.
Right.
And she wasn't there because she had to save the indentured people that was on the boat.
Right. I mean, that's how she is. She's kind of a softie like that.
Well, so I mean,
and she couldn't leave them.
Yeah, it mirrored her own experience. Mm-hmm. And then for the plan that they did, where they had Wyland come up with a compound that mimics the firepox. She probably didn't want those women or that baby to be exposed to that, even though it wasn't going to harm them. Still, she was like, okay, you know what? Let me just get them out of here and get them to safety. And it took just a little bit longer, but she missed all the important stuff. She missed the whole thing about dragging it out. The look on Pekka's men's faces when he was like, I'm begging you. And Cass was like, are you?
Are you?
and Pekka's men were looking like, is he really about to get on his knees? And when Pekka got on his knees, you saw all of them. They were like, man, what the fuck? Like, he just made Pekka Rollins get on his knees. Mm. That whole sequence, that whole reveal, it was amazing. I can't wait to hear what Lori has to say about it.
It was, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, Pekka's going to get his ass. Because
he probably will, yes.
Pekka's going to get his ass one way or another. Pekka is going to fuck his shit up.
He's going to try. I don't know if he will, because you have to think that even though Pekka is in jail now, you have to think that Kaz is aware that he has now put a very large target on his back. So I don't think he's going to let his guard down enough for whatever to happen. He's going to be on his toes.
Right.
But Pekka will definitely try.
Because, even in this country, in the modern day, we have a long history of mafia bosses running shit from prison. Mm-hmm. So...
Won't be surprised if Pekka actually gets that started up as soon as he gets in either, too.
Well, I mean, the guards are already on his payroll.
He already got the guards on his payroll. Probably got the warden too, all on his payroll. So
now I think the only thing that probably would have changed that would have been, well, then again, we don't know, because what was it that Cass said? The quote unquote firepox only spread to Pekka's establishments. That means that the law and the department that governs all of the water transportation, all of this stuff, they're going to be heavily in Pekka's business now. They're going to be looking at all of his stuff to try to determine where this outbreak came from. Pekka's about to lose a lot of money. They've closed down the docks. They've closed down his businesses. So he's about to lose a lot of money.
He is, but he's been there before, and he'll just claw his way back to the top. Trust me. Men like Pekka, they're not easy unless you kill them. Mm-hmm. There isn't much you can do to really stop.
Yeah.
Like, this is really a stopgap measure for, Cass to get everything in order to kind of get control of stuff, get his little bit of revenge. But until he murders Pekka, he's not going to have any peace.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like so. guys like Pekka are just like, this is basically just a pause in the movie that is his life. That is like how he runs things. It's just like
it's a minor setback.
Yeah,
it's a minor setback.
I mean,
but it was done in a major way.
Yeah.
This whole scene, like when Kaz asked him, tried to get him to remember his brother, and it's like he said, what he said like you were just too.
You were just two pigeons that I plucked.
Yeah, if it wasn't me, it would have been somebody else. And I was like, man, like he's like, even faced with the fact of losing his son, he was still like that cold and callous. Where he was like, I'm not even gonna pretend. But I don't remember, bro. I don't remember y'all. It's like y'all just want another link in the chain that brought me up, that helped me pick up what is now my empire. So it's like, I don't know you, and I don't care. I don't know why you're doing this shit. Like, where's my fucking son? But it's like he managed to keep his air of superiority. Like after he's like, even after bending the knee, he's like, he still he was like, I have to get back, kind of dust myself off because I'm still fucking Pekka Rollins, but I got to find my son.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Kaz took all his dignity away from him in that moment. He really did. I mean, even just the fact that he did kind of sort of make him remember, he can remember his brother's name, but he did remember the Khan, and what we find out through the flashbacks and through the story is that Pekka didn't outright kill Kaz's brother, but he was indirectly responsible for Kaz's brother's death because, of course, he took their money, which made them, poor. They had to be out on the streets, and they were living on the streets when the firepox epidemic hit. You can see it from the flashback. Geordi had it full on. Kaz had it a little bit. He did have some of the pock marks on his face, but if he caught it, then he only caught a mild case of it. But Geordi ended up dying because of the firepox. And then, as we see in the flashbacks, they put all the dead bodies on a barge and just kind of pushed it out in the middle of the sea. And Kaz happened to be on it. And I was just like, and then for Pekka to not like, the fact that you ran so many cons on young people that you can't even remember who you did that to. You don't remember the names. It was so inconsequential to you. I was like, you know what? You deserve everything you got tonight. And then the look on his face when he's in the cemetery and his carriage comes up and his son gets out and he's like, "Die." Like, this motherfucker got one over on me. The look on his face, yes, it was, I feel like there was a little bit of embarrassment there. There was a lot of disbelief, but there was also that, oh, I'm about to fuck him up. So yeah, and I do, yeah, he's gonna come for Kaz if we get a season 3, or if they do the Crows spinoff like the rumor is. He's coming for Kaz. Now, whether he wants that smoke, I don't know, because like I said, Kaz now knows that he has painted a target on his back. He knows Pekka is going to come after him, and he knows enough to observe and be like, okay, let me figure out every single way he's going to try to come at this.
Yeah, if he is who Kaz is, he's going to put stuff in place for when that event happens.
Right.
Yeah. He's going to have everything situated. He's going to have people in place, things in motion, just
plans upon plans upon plans.
Yeah. I'm sure he has already started like taking away some of those guards that's on his payroll. Just pretend you're still on his payroll, but I'll pay you more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, he also has to, what did he tell Nina? He told Nina that I will pay the guards, to keep Matthias out of the fights, because she was scared about, okay, so like she said, she knew Pekka was lying about keeping Matthias safe. She knew that. She could hear his heartbeat, which I'm like, if you know enough about Grisha and you know enough about what heartrenders do, which I'm assuming anybody who is a criminal would know what the Grisha are. because they have to be prepared for that.
Above all, Pekka knows that they can tell whether or not you're telling the truth because he used them before.
Right. So I was like, I don't know why you thought that was going to be okay. Like she was just going to be like, oh yes, I'm going to go ahead and turn Cass Brecker into you, even though you have absolutely no intention.
You know, that was him just being overconfident and cocky.
You're right.
That's all that was. He wasn't even thinking about her being a heartrender. He was thinking of her as being a lovelorn woman who wanted her man and would do anything to keep her man safe.
Right.
He wasn't thinking that she's a heartrender who can tell whether or not he's lying.
And he didn't know enough about
heartrenders.
He didn't know enough about her to know this bitch used to work for the Darkling.
Well, now if he knew that, he'd have killed her on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think so. If he knew exactly the extent of like the skills she has, the knowledge she has, what she has done. Like she's a spy. Yeah, absolutely.
She was literally Kerrigan's hand in the world. Like that's what she was. His eyes, ears, and hands around people's throats. That's who she was out in the world.
So, but yeah, that whole scene, I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk about this scene. I can't wait to talk about this scene because it was so well done. It was so well done. And Wyland, let me tell you, this kid, and even I still say there are some moments when he looks very sweet and innocent and very childlike. And then there are some moments where I look and I was like, nope, that's a full grown man and he knows exactly what he's doing. He is brilliant. The fact that he was able to come up with this, he was like, yeah, it'll mimic it for like 24 hours and then it'll go back. But just the fact that he's even able to come up with this stuff, I was like, yeah, this is why Jesper has been wanting a Demolitions Man. But I mean, he did good. He did good. And Jesper with that red hat, I was just like, it's just the right flourish for him. It looked so good.
I mean, you know how Jesper is with hats. Jesper has to have the proper hat.
Jesper that hat was amazing.
Yeah.
That hat was amazing. But
I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yes, you leave it alone. I don't want to hear no negative Jesper talk today. None.
Negative? Really? Negative?
What were you gonna say?
I don't know now. It's gone. Okay. The moment passed.
Okay.
Yeah. See, it's like okay, it's fine.
So let's move away from the crows. Let's go to the Saints and Alina and all of the shit that went down in the castle. Whoa. That's a lot of stuff.
First of all, you were gonna if you were hiding out. I know I'm skipping ahead, but if you were hiding out, why would you invite half the world to come to a party? Why would you even have a party?
So we've already established from season 1 that the royal family ain't the smartest. And the mom, okay, so
Tatiana.
So this queen, let me tell you, throughout this whole thing, first of all, the episode starts with them all at the table. They're having dinner. They've got the Grisha. They've got, some of the First Army. And Vasily, this is the first time that we're actually like face-to-face meeting him. And from the moment he opens his mouth, I was like, this dude needs to die.
Yeah,
talking about how yes,
oily and just ugh,
and prejudiced and so ugh.
When he went to talk to Alina, I was just like, ugh, don't be alone with him. No, I need you not to be alone in a room with that guy.
I imagine everything he is a product of his father. Like, I just imagine his father was smarmy and disgusting as well.
Speaking of his father, the king ain't looking too good.
Yeah, he was looking bad. I was like, oh, that's terrible. What's for dinner?
Right.
Yeah, he deserved that shit.
He really did. He really did. But when they're sitting there talking, you know, Vasily is basically telling Nikolai, what was it? He said, why must you always be the diplomat? I mean, having these Grisha having, sitting next to true Ravkan soldiers. And I just love Alina because she was like, we are all Ravkans. And I was like, Alina is trying her best not to hit him with a lightning bolt or something, because I could feel it. And he was sitting there, just like you said, being so smarmy and talking about the Grisha, and he was disgusting. And poor Mal is sitting at the table and he's listening to the conversation. And I know he was sitting there like, Alina, please don't hit him. Alina, please don't hit him. Alina, please don't hit him. Because she wanted to.
She already hit one prince. She might as well hit the other.
Might as well just go for them all.
Right.
Hit the whole family.
Right. But then he starts talking about Second Army and First Army and how the Grisha, he was like, the Grecians should be banished or whatever because of what Kirigan did, and look at what they did to my father and stuff. And then Alina opens her mouth and she was like, if Second Army requires a leader who will, make them be loyal to the crown, then I'll be the leader. I was like, no, Alina, you're not supposed to be doing this. And Mal sitting there looking at her like, what the fuck? This ain't what we discussed. And then when he says, so what makes you think, why would I think that you'll be loyal to my family? And when Nikolai gets up and makes the announcement, the look on Mal's face. Now, I just said this in the last episode about how when Nikolai made the proposal to marry Alina, I was like, okay, I love that he's not leaving Mal out of that. I realized that wasn't him in this. That was Alina. And again, I'm sitting here like, Alina, you couldn't take 2 seconds to warn Mal that this was coming. Like right. 2 seconds. But well,
she has a tendency to be a little bit self-centered when it comes to her things. Like, why would she have to even discuss this with Mal? Like, from her perspective, it's her decision, it's her choice, it's her life.
That's still her boyfriend. He might want to know that she's going to get engaged to somebody else, even though, yes, they had the conversation.
Have they had the conversation about boyfriend, girlfriend? I mean, have they had the conversation?
Dude, they were about to sleep with each other the first night in the museum.
And having to are two different things.
I mean, and
I've been in a lot of about to situations and ain't had damn girlfriends. So come on now.
Okay, well, for the sake of this, listening to their conversations throughout the rest of the episode, it's gonna be me and you once this is over. That's pretty much saying that we are a thing. We already know this. So come on, this is Mal and Alina. Let's not pretend like we don't know this is already.
Are they married? Did he propose? Are they married? As far as we know, they're still single, just dating. Why should she why am I taking this position that she has agency over what she can do with her life?
It has nothing to do with agency. This is a person that you have, even if they have not said to each other or that we've seen, you are my boyfriend, I am your girlfriend. They have given every other indication in the first 3 episodes that they are together as a couple and that they are making decisions together as a couple. Even whether he said to her the last episode, you still should give him the courtesy of at least warning him that this announcement is about to be made. Yes, she has the agency. Yes, she has she has the power to make that decision. Still give him some courtesy. This dude has crossed the country for you, has been shot for you, has been stabbed for you, has almost died for you, not once, not twice, not 3 times, several times. Give him the courtesy to say, hey, so that conversation we had yesterday about the engagement, I'm going to go ahead and do it. We're probably going to make the announcement. I just want you to be prepared. When they have the conversation afterwards, he was like, why in the world would you speak up and say you're going to leave the Second Army? That wasn't what we were supposed to do. That isn't what you were supposed to do. I had this problem with Alina. I had this problem with Alina in the last season.
She makes these decisions on her own about herself, and she doesn't want to consult with anybody. That's just who she is. That's the kind of person she is.
But
And
see,
you can
that
call it
worries me.
self-centered or egotistical or whatever. It's that's how she chooses to be. Every
But that
decision she
worries
makes
me
is about herself.
because that's the same way Kerrigan was last season. And we discussed that.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be the parallel.
Yeah. I think they're really kind of unconsciously, consciously drawing parallels to them, and it's almost like they're trying to lead up to something. But it's like, I mean, you got to realize that absolute power corrupts absolutely, and she's the sun summoner. It's like people look up to her, so it's like at some point she's like, you know what? I think my idea is going to work, so I'm going to do what I want to do. It's like, who's going to check her?
I mean, who was the last leader of the Second Army? General Kerrigan.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
okay, and I understand the whole.
We go from General Kerrigan to Alina, who's a sun summoner, who's immortal, just like, whatchamacallit, just like Alexander. They're essentially the same fucking person.
And see, this is the problem that I'm going to have if they move in that direction. And we've had this conversation before. Yes, I get it. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Yes, I get it. She is Kerrigan's equal in that sense. But do we always have to go the quote unquote predictable route? Like, we already see Alina is starting to get a little, I don't even want to say obsessed with the fact of the whole Merzos thing, but she wants to learn how to use it. She wants to learn how to do the cut. Nadia talks her out of doing that. When David arrives and has Morzover's journal, she takes it to him. She was like, I want to understand how Merzos works. And I understand her thoughts like, okay, well, if he created this out of Merzos and they're shadow monsters, maybe I can create light monsters and no, that never works out. Why even go in that direction? Like, I feel like they really are going to push to make her the new big bad, or at least somewhat more ambiguous than being a good person. And I don't want to see it. I don't have to see y'all pulled this shit with Daenerys Targaryen. Y'all spent 7 seasons making her be like, I'm not going to turn out to be like my father. I'm not going to do this. Alina is doing the same thing. She's protesting too much that she's not going to be like Kerrigan. And it's like everything that we see is kind of probably how he started as well.
First of all, on my 4th rewatch of Game of Thrones, all of the hints about Daenerys was there already. Like, if you were paying attention, it wasn't surprising that she turned out the way she did. Her solution to everything before that was burn them with dragons. That was her solution to every problem she had. So does it surprise you that her solution to freeing King's Landing was to burn it with dragons? So here you have Alina, all of her. Okay, let me back up. Kerrigan started his journey the same way she starts hers. She wants to protect the Grisha, wanting to have the Grisha work with the government or the royal family to try to have harmony, as the royal family turned on them. Like, they were afraid of his power. They were afraid of Grisha power. Whatever you want to call it, prejudice, bigotry, fear, all of that stuff is what hardened Kerrigan. He didn't start out this way. I'm sure he didn't. Even though,
I don't know, because some of them conversations he had with Baghra in this episode, I'm like.
But if you think about it, he still had good motivations. He wanted to protect Grisha.
Yeah.
And if his idea at some point transitioned from, you know what, I can't really protect them unless I'm in charge. That sounds like Alina. I really can't protect them unless I'm in charge. It's the same fucking thing.
You know what? You know where you can get with good intentions? Straight to hell, because the road's paved with them all the way down there. That's all you. Yeah, and you're right. Most villains in most stories start off trying to do good for a certain group, or for their family, or for their friends, or for a certain like race of people. Like they start trying to do good, but it's like once they get to a position of power, they get it kind of, their message gets twisted. And I can see this happening. It's going, you can see it coming.
I can see it, but the problem is I don't want to see it. Like, that is such a predictable trope, and just once.
Really, this is YA literature. Everything about it is predictable.
Can we just for once do something completely out of the unexpected?
No, because when you subvert people's expectations, sometimes that's a double-bladed sword, and people will bail if it doesn't fit.
If they did that, all the book readers would be up in arms, being like, "That's not how it's supposed to go. Why are y'all changing the ending of the book? Oh my God, what the hell are you doing?" Just like Kermit.
And then the regular people who are just following along would be like, That's not right. That's not how that should go.
I mean, you can't win. You can't break even. You can't get out of the game.
I think Harry and Hermione should have been together. But, we can't all have that.
See, I was right up there with you until you said that bullshit.
Thank you.
No, absolutely the fuck not. That is a trope. That right there would have ruined the whole series. They would have no fans right now if that shit would have happened.
Well, they would have some. There's a lot of Harry and Hermione shippers, but
there's a whole subculture.
That's a whole other podcast episode, because we could debate on that for hours.
But
they're wrong. They're wrong, and they should be ashamed of themselves.
Sometimes subverting people's expectations is a good thing as a writer. However, in something like this, maybe not so much. Like my 14-year-old daughter Bailey, she basically, after the first episode, told me, okay, this is everything that's going to happen this season. And season 1, she pretty much called everything.
My daughter Mia does the same thing, which is why I don't watch shows with her anymore.
She wrote it down on a piece of paper, in her journal, and I read it, and I'm like, God damn it. Everything. She predicted the whole fucking show.
See, but that's what it was written for. Again, this is, as you said, this is YA literature. It was written for young adults who actually are good at predicting these kind of things. So it's like, you can't really surprise. If you surprise them, they're not going to like it. So it's like, I mean, this is basically going down the path of Alina getting bad, realizing the error of her ways, and trying to save everybody. Then she gets killed in the end, and somehow Mal's alive at the end of it, holding her like, "No, Alina, stay with me." And she reaches up and says, "You are my light," and then she fades into the end. That's exactly what the fuck's going to happen.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Mike called it. Write it down. I back him 115%.
I'm just saying, she doesn't have to be evil.
However Kerrigan dies is the same way she's going to die. That's just how it's going to be. And the cycle continues and continues.
So everything turn.
And maybe she gets pregnant and has a kid, and we don't know about the kid until season 7.
Did you say season 7? Okay. We can go on about that all. We're just gonna wait and see how they go with this story.
And the Laura's over lie continues.
Yeah, but it's just, it's just one of those things where it's like Alina's starting to like. I feel like in her trying to not be like Kerrigan, that's what's going to end up pushing her to be more like him, because that's usually how it always is like people who are trying to avoid a certain thing, trying to avoid becoming like somebody, trying to avoid, like, what is it they tell us? Like, we always say when we're younger, oh, when I get older, I'm not going to be like my parents. And then what happens when we get in our 40s and our 50s? Oh, we became our parents.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. That's some bullshit.
So I understand that, but okay, we'll explore that a little bit more once we get to some more episodes. But right now, they've made the announcement. Now, I will say this. Okay, so once they made the announcement and all the Grecians sitting there at the table, do you still think now that Zoya has alternative motives? Because Zoya was basically like, yeah, I'm still going to follow her, because if we don't, we're going to be lumped in with Kerrigan. And what did she say? And I would quite like to see him fall. I was like, yeah, she pissed. She pissed.
And she should be, because she was up high, like high ranking in Kerrigan's army. Now she's like just almost basically just another Grisha. It's like she's like, fuck that dude. Like she's basically lost everything, including her family, which is his fault which is basically his fault that her family's dead.
Oh, so, ain't no basic. It is his fault,
right? So
unequivocally.
Yeah, she's all about fuck Kerrigan. So yeah,
I'm gonna still withhold judgment.
Whatever.
You're gonna wait and see.
I'm gonna wait and see.
Okay. So let's talk about a couple of interesting things we did learn in this episode, and then we're going to go back to our whole conversation about the royal family, which is how we got into that whole sidebar conversation about Alina. So we find out that Nikolai may be a bastard. You know,
he's 100% a bastard.
And
you see how Vasily treats him. Vasily treats him like a redheaded stepchild, except he's blonde. He treats him so bad, like he treats him like a second cousin 5 times removed. Like he's like, why are you even here?
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I mean, he never outright said, "Yes, I'm a bastard." He basically hinted at it.
He hinted said, and I will 100% deny I ever said this. So I think
he was talking about, confirming. Yeah. But anyway, so him acknowledging that, and then when they make the announcement, his brother gets up from the table and his mother is like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And then when she talks about having the engagement party, and he was like, "Now is not the time for parties." I mean, she even said, she was like, "Well, if we don't do anything," she said, "You are a lance-off prince. If we don't do anything, it'll be like we have something to hide. So I'll just invite, the extended family." Now, Vasily, later on, when they do have the party, and of course, Vasily has invited all of these people, he literally is having a conversation with his brother and his mother, and he calls his brother a bastard right there. Mama just sitting there like, what is wrong with this woman?
She's a queen. She's the queen. She's royalty. She doesn't.
You need to put your son in check.
She gonna check him because Anthony, because she doesn't want to admit that he's right. If she checks him, she's admitting that
all she has to do
admits that he's right.
As the queen, it's not like they have DNA tests back then. All she has to do is say, "He is not a bastard. That is your father's son, and that is the last I will hear of it." Story.
Well, no, because then you acknowledge what he said, and then he gets challenged, and then shit comes out. So it's best for her to just ignore the comment and move on.
Yep, just
need her to have a spine. I need her to have a spine. I need her to anyway.
Not happening. Even though she's above everybody, she's still a woman in royalty, and she knows her place. She ain't gonna say shit.
Yeah, and see, I wish Lori were here, because Lori would help us out with this royal thing. It's a difficult thing when it comes to bastards. It's a very touchy subject. You can't really acknowledge that someone is calling someone a bastard. We saw it in Game of Thrones. We saw it. You have to tread lightly when it comes to that. If he is in fact a bastard and they're treating him like a prince, you don't want people to start asking questions. Like, if Vasily calls him a bastard, he's just doing it because of the rumors. If she says he's not a bastard. He's my son. Oh, well, then all of a sudden, we got to figure this out.
But this is only a conversation between you and your 2 children anyway.
She still can't. Because as far as you know, Vasily just knows it's a rumor.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm saying all of that to say I need this bitch to have a spine, and she does not. But anyway, at this point, it really doesn't matter with everything that happened. With everything that happened in this episode, it really doesn't matter. But
no, it doesn't.
Before we get to the party,
it might at some point. It might matter.
Like
because there's a reason why the writers put that shit in there. Why is we all talking about him being a bastard? You know, we saw what happened. We see what happens in the episode. He's gonna be the king. Oh, so now we have reason to call into question his
maybe
his claim to the throne. Mm-hmm. That's just the writers just giving us something else, you know, for on down the line.
I know. But yeah,
the whole Vasily comment was writers. It was just a writer slapping us in the face. Remember that conversation about him being the bastard? We just want you to remember it. It's important.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But the fact, like you said, Mike, the fact that Vasily even went to Alina's room and was like, why are you with my brother? Like, you could be with me. And I know Alina was like,
ew.
She was gonna say something I'm not gonna say on this recording,
the amount of revulsion that she had when he grabbed her hand and kissed it. I mean, I wiped my own hand off after I saw that. I was like, that was so uncomfortable. I was like, oh, come on.
I just heard her say, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Like, no. He was like, oh, I would prefer you to call me Vasily, at least when we're in private. Can I help you, Moy? Sorry. She was like, I'm not calling you by your first name. I don't want any kind of pretense of us being friendly or no. But then, you know, after they have the little engagement dinner when she and Mal are out there in the hallway talking and they kiss before they separate. Of course, he sees that, and I was like, "What is he about to do?"
First of all,
wait, hold on.
No. Let's back up.
Before you say that, Lori's not here, so I got to say this. Alina kind of seems like a Romeo pimp because she's like, she's like, oh, come on, Mal, you got to trust me, baby. He's like, I'm going to get us through this. We're going to be together after this, baby. Here, give me your hand. This is your heart, baby. Right here, baby. She was pimping him. I was like, damn, girl. She was pimping him hard. And he was just like, okay. It's just like Eddie Murphy and Raw. He's like, okay, I'll do what you say.
I can't stand you right now.
I gotta do it. She's not here, man. I gotta hold it down for my sister.
That was good.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All I was gonna say was, why are we having these very important conversations out in hallways for anyone to see and hear? Just whatever.
That's a good point.
But you're supposed to be engaged to a prince, but yet you're outside in the open saying, yeah, but I really love you. I really want to be with you. Blah 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 blah.
And then kissing him and kissing his hand on her heart. And I'm like,
really? That could have been a goodbye kiss.
No,
he was all the way across. He was all the way across the room.
No,
he didn't hear what the conversation was.
It doesn't matter.
Goodbye kisses on the lips.
Yeah,
on the lips with a little bit of.
I've done that before. So
you ain't never gave me no goodbye kiss like that.
But we also ain't in no relationship either.
Wait a second. We know each other almost 20 years. They ain't never got one of those goodbye kisses. Come on now.
Like,
that's different.
Was that Comic-Con or Dragon Con?
No. No, they ain't even 20 years old. What are you talking about? And they ain't even known each other as long as I've known each other.
That was not the smartest thing for them to do, to even have that conversation. I mean, I understand. Yes, Mal is like, what the fuck you mean you about to lead the second army? Like, that is not what the discussion was. Like, the whole reason for you getting engaged was to protect you. And how are you going to be protected if you are out there leading the Second Army with a big target on your back? And I understand what she's saying, you know, what about the other Grisha, this, that, and the other? You know, we came here to reunite Ravka. He was like, I didn't come here for Ravka. I came here for you. I don't give a fuck about this country. This country has never done anything good for me.
Right.
But so what ends up happening is Vasily has Mal knocked out and arrested for desertion, and then we don't see him for the rest of the episode. Which, okay, I will say this: when Alina and Nikolai walk in and she's looking like, where's Mal? And then she says, okay, but this is not like him to not be here. Even if this was difficult, this is not like him to be here. I'm like, oh, so she learned her lesson from the last season, huh? Oh, something.
She didn't learn shit. Mal's in trouble again. She's probably like, oh, he's in trouble again. He'll be back. He'll be back in the next episode. I ain't worried about him. He'll be all right.
No, Nikolai was like, oh, you know, he's probably not feeling what we're doing, so he probably doesn't want to see it. Like, you want to rub his face in it?
Yeah.
I could believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me like Nikolai even more. It's like, he's kind of a pompous brat, but he actually cares about shit. Like he actually gives a fuck. But
that is one thing I will say. I like that they changed a little bit from the books, because in the books, he and Mal, they do have I would say, a healthy kind of like competition for Alina's affections. Not that Nikolai had a chance, but he and Alina do have a very good friendship in the books. And I mean, you can even see the start of that in this episode. Some people can look at it and be like, oh, she's being flirty with him. No, I just think that's how she is with people that she cares about. And he starts to fall for her. But it's never a thing in the show, at least what we've seen so far, where he's just kind of like being an asshole about it towards Mal. And I do like that, because one thing that you always see these little competitions or these disagreements, like the whole thing with Alina and Zoya, and what could be with Nikolai and Mal. And I think what they're kind of showing us is that even though these sets of people may be on opposite ends of the spectrum or opposite, opposing views, they can still disagree with each other and still work together to achieve what they need to achieve. I like that. I like the fact that it's not all just drama and snarkiness and all this other stuff. I'm cool with it. Mm-hmm. So I do like the way that Nikolai is in this show, and just also the fact that they are making these guys, well, except for Vasily, but they're making these guys not the regular misogynist, narcissistic, I'm the guy, I have to save the damsel in this. Like, we're not getting that from a lot of these male characters, which I'm enjoying. They realize that these women are strong in their own right, and that they can make their own decisions, and that they can do things to save the fucking country, and they don't have to be a part of that. I like it. But
yeah, I mean, even Kerrigan, to a certain extent, it's like he's not as much of a misogynist as he could be. I mean, it's like he actually kind of cares about Alina, like, but in his own way.
I still think that's more so a control thing. And I mean, even his mother calls him out on it. She was like, I mean, because think about it. He goes in to see Baghra, and he's bringing her favorite treat, stewed figs, your favorite. She was like, so you think bringing me some warm fruit is supposed to endear you to me? Ew. Like, really? Like, you got this girl sitting on the floor here that you have completely like messed over. Like, Jenya is so disfigured from what happened with the nichevo'ya, and she's sitting there trying to heal herself, and Baghra's like, child, those scars come from Merzos. You're wasting your talent right there. It's not going to fix anything. And when he walks in and he sees her, he looks at her at first, and I love the way she never backed down. Like, she was scared of him at first, but now she has faced this, and she's still alive, and she just looks at him and she makes him look at her. And it gets to a point where he can no longer look at her. He turns his face from her. He was like, get her out of there. He refuses to look at her, and she keeps looking at him defiantly. I was like, yeah, he feels I think he feels a little bit of remorse, just a little bit, because like he says, he had an affinity for Jenya. But I mean, his mother even told him, she was like, what are you doing with her? And he's like, oh, she's going to be an example for people who are disloyal to me. She was like, that girl has been loyal to you since you were a child. She endured years of abuse under your orders.
That you did.
That you did under your orders. Yeah. And now you're going to make her an example? She was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But again, he makes several statements. Everything I learned at your knee. This is how you taught me. And
the other thing is, he knows that people fear him. Like, if he couldn't see that Jenny was as skittish as a deer from when he first got her back, he knew that she was going to run. Like, he should know this the first chance he gets.
Or maybe he thought she was too scared to run.
But either way, he should realize, he should know where her head is right now. Everybody can see it. He knows she is. That's why he's watching her so closely. But I swear this motherfucker gets around like ain't nobody's business. You talk about someone teleporting, people can't go nowhere without this dude showing up. I'm just saying.
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
But okay, I will say this. The new Duras, Viadem, I think that's his name. That dude, I don't know if it's just ambition, but it's like he sees all of this horrible stuff that Kerrigan is doing, and it doesn't faze him. He just keeps going on doing what he's doing. Oh, I'm gonna crush Baghra's bone finger. Yeah. I'm gonna put the rest of them in here, and he's telling Baghra, well, you're an amplifier. Some of us would want just a little bit of your power, which I think he has now because he was testing, that little bit on his hand. But I was like, this dude, something about him, and because even with David, and I don't know if it's just the physical quirks of David and who he is, but even with David, when he was doing stuff for Kerrigan in season 1, you kind of sort of got the impression that David was not completely comfortable with what he was doing, but he was doing it because he knew he had no other choice. This dude here, oh no, you want me to take Baghra's finger and make some? Okay, let's do this. Let's get this skin off. Let's crush these balls. Let's make this little potion. And I mean, he's just doing it like it's nothing. And I was like, something about this new round of people that Kerrigan has people around him now that do not have a conscience.
Right. They seem to be masochists or whatever the word is.
Well, I
this
mean,
Tide Maker girl is following him around like a lovesick puppy.
She's just waiting to hurt something. She's just looking to hurt something to make him happy.
Is. But you got to look at it like this. It's like, I mean, after he got killed, I mean, the Grisha were basically, it was open season on him. And it's like they got treated so badly. And now that he's back and they know that he's okay and he's still basically the same guy, they're like, okay, I'm going to align myself directly behind him so that I can help make sure that this shit doesn't happen again, because they were getting fucked up. Like all the Grisha were getting fucked up after they thought he was dead. They were like, I mean, just like in the first episode, just like they had him in cages and they were getting ready to throw him into the fucking fold and watch him die.
Well, it seems like the ones he didn't really save or free, the ones who had a conscience, they got the hell away and went to go find refuge with somebody else. Right. The ones who really believed in what he was preaching,
the weaker-minded ones, yeah.
Yeah, they went right to him.
Yeah.
I mean, all he needs are a few that will follow. It's just like any other cult. All you need is like a handful of people that'll believe anything you say, and you could rule the world.
Yeah.
because those 5 people will, for each of those people will find at least 2 more people that think just like them and bring them to Kerrigan. So it's like, I mean, then it just spreads from there. It's like, I mean, you only need a few people to help you find other people. So
right. But yeah, I feel like with these Grisha that are following him, just kind of like blindly, no conscience, no issue with what he's doing, this does make him a little more dangerous. You have those Grisha, and then you have the nichevo'ya. I'm just like, yeah, he's and then of course we see this in the episode. First of all, before we get to that part, David has made his way to Alina's camp. He has found where she is. He's, brought her Morozova's journal. He's told her about the nichevo'ya and, about what may or may not have happened to Jenya. And when he's describing the shadow monsters to everyone, he's telling them, look, they have no blood. They have no heartbeats. They have no physical form. You can't stab them. You can't shoot them. They're nothing. I mean, that's the literal definition of nichevo'ya. Nothing. There's no way we can do that because, of course, Nikolai and Mal are like, okay, well, tell us where he is. He was like, that's suicide. Nope. Not about to have y'all's death on my conscience.
Yeah, because he's like, yeah, the first thing y'all gonna do is go there and attack him. That's stupid. That's dumb.
Right.
I'm not gonna send y'all to y'all's death. Fuck that.
Right. And y'all are not strong enough. So this brings up 2 things. One, Mal has continued to tell Alina, okay, now we need the Firebird more than ever. I need to go find the Firebird. I need to go track it. Then the second thing is, while he's sitting there trying to figure out how to go about doing that, he comes up to Toya and asks him about this legendary sword that another saint used to kill a quote unquote unkillable army. And the Nishenya, I don't know if that was something that may have been in the Six of Crows book, but I don't think it was. I can't remember if this was something that was in the Shadow and Bone books, but this is the part where they start to diverge the story a little bit from the books, because what they end up doing is Toya is getting ready to go look for the sword. Zoya is going with him, and they're, from what it sounds like, they're on their way to go find the crows so that the crows can help them, because of course they're going to steal a sword. Who better for a heist than the crows? Yep. So this is where the story differs, because this whole journey to find the Firebird in the books, it takes place with Mal and Alina and Zoya, and a lot of the Grisha are accompanying them. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting, because now you start to see where the story kind of changes a little bit. But
yeah, but it's still, it's the magical thing that's going to save us all trope. It's like, whether it's a ring, a crown, an Ark of the Covenant, a fucking cup, a chalice.
That's if they can find it. That's if they can find it, because the original sword is missing.
It's a quest.
Mm-hmm. A quest for a magic sword. Mm-hmm. Here we go again.
Yeah.
I mean,
trope on top of trope on top of trope.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll be successful with it, though, because you're taking resources away from Alina to go and find this thing, which it does make sense, though. If this is something that actually exists, like Mal said, because Toya was like, this is a myth, this is a fairy tale, this is a bedtime story they told us as children. It doesn't exist. And Mal said neither did the stag, neither did the sea. Yep. So at this point, again, Mal is thinking the things that other people are not. He was like, look, y'all keep saying that this stuff doesn't exist, but this is literally, Alina is the living embodiment of the fact that 2 of those amplifiers should not have existed. So why not this sword? I mean, now we have shadow monsters. We didn't know that shit existed either. But they're here. We need to fight them. So
it's just it's hard for me to believe that these people have a hard time believing in this shit when there's a fucking big ass thing that no one can really explain dividing a country in half. You know what I mean?
yeah.
The fold should not exist. The fold is the most supernatural of supernatural things, and you don't want to believe that there's a sword that can do some crazy shit.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, that's just
Come on,
like,
guys.
okay, so we don't deal with a lot of the supernatural in our world, but there are people who believe in ghosts, they believe in spirits and stuff like that. But you have some people who will have like certain things in their face and still not believe that this is a real thing.
They draw a line.
So
that's not a ghost.
Picture.
That's just your imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so at this point, this is where Mal gets knocked out. We don't see him for the rest of the episode because Vasily has him arrested. Toya and Zoya are going. Oh, speaking of which, I need everybody to get off of Toya's ass about his poetry. I love the fact that he loves poetry and the fact that everybody rags on him and they're so disrespectful to him. I wanted to stop. Show my man some respect.
I don't know. It's hard because I don't know if he does it because he loves poetry or it's an in.
No, he genuinely loves it. That's like one of the traits of his character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like poetry too.
Yeah, no, that like his character is like when it comes to romance, at least as far as I know in the series, he doesn't have like a love interest, and it's because he was like, I have my weapons and I have my books. That's all I need in my life. That's that's literally who he is.
I don't know. That's not how he looked at Zoya. I'm just saying.
I think he was just looking at Zoya like, why you got to be dissing my poetry? Like he was trying to be. He was like, this is a classic. That would be like somebody quoting Shakespeare and somebody else be like, we're not listening to that garbage. Excuse me, garbage? This is the Bard.
We'll circle back to that. We'll circle back to Toya and his love of poetry.
Yeah.
We'll circle back.
We'll circle back. Okay, so let's go to the other big thing that happens in this episode. This is the engagement party for Nikolai and Alina, which there's so many more people there than that should be. And Nikolai kind of said something about it when he talks to his mother. He was like, so is this your idea of a small gathering? Because again, she was only supposed to invite extended family. And she said, no, Vasily wanted to invite or she comes over to Vasily and she was like, you know, I'm not really too keen on your, I think it's Cartania. I can't remember. But anyway, he tends to hang with some disreputable people. And these are the people that he invited to the party.
Aryeva.
Dude. And Nikolai was like, hold up. So all of these shiesty people who are like your gold digging friends and your hangers-ons and all this other stuff.
The people you owe money to.
These are the people that you invited to my party. He was like, do you not understand the Darkling is out there and all of these people here put us at risk? And that's when Vasily goes into his, oh, you are a pretentious bastard type person. He was like, yeah.
And then he had the nerve to call him a pirate. Like, God damn it, how many times we got to go over this? He's a privateer. There is a distinction.
Doesn't matter.
Distinction, damn it.
Vasily gets up there. He's getting ready to give his toast. And I felt like he was about to say something really derogatory about his brother. Like he was going to make a lot of veiled references to that whole bastard comment. Yeah. And Alina happens to look up because she hears a noise. And, oh, there's some shadows. Ooh. And then you get the shadows coming through. Vasily, the look on his face, I was like, oh, I hope you're about to die. And I got my wish because that shadow monster grabbed him and tore that fucker in two. I was like, you deserved it.
Grand opening, grand closing. Nice to know you. I was like, oh, he bloated him. Like, holy shit. Like,
right.
That was awesome.
But yeah, so the shadow monsters are there, and they're kind of tearing through the crowd, and the Grisha, Adric, and Nadia, at least they figure out that, oh, these things have to be solid in order to grab people, and they're trying to fight them the best they can. And then, of course, when they can't fight, they're running. Everybody is running. And in the midst of all of that, while they are trying to find shelter, Alina comes across Kerrigan, or a shadow version of Kerrigan. But this shadow version of Kerrigan can touch her.
That shit was creepy as fuck. Like he basically possessed her, and she was, and when, like, what's his name, brother came around the corner and saw her, and it's like she's just like this.
What the fuck? Right.
Yeah. I was like,
he's like, what's going on with you?
What's going on here?
Right.
And like when she came back around, when she saw him again, she was like, you can see him, right? And everybody's like, yeah. She's like, okay, good.
Right, because that was actually him. Like, you even heard his footsteps when he was coming down the stairs. You know, the nichevo'ya was with him and attacking them, and it grabbed Adric. And Alina was able to get Adric free, but of course his hand is messed up. His arm is messed up. But the shadow monsters, and I don't know if it's because of the fact that Alina and Kerrigan are linked now, but even when she created a force field with her light, the nichevo'ya was like, knock, 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 knock. Oh, okay, let me just slide on in through here, and came through, and I was just like,
well, Kerrigan is still more powerful than she is.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But not by much. I mean, she has 2 amplifiers.
It's enough. It does a little bit or a lot is still more.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't like they just walked on in. It was a little effort involved to try to get through.
Right.
So.
Yeah. But I was just like, when you saw how big they were and how much damage they were causing, and then of course apparently Kerrigan's Grisha were outside. So you're dealing with the nichevo'ya inside, you're dealing with the Grisha on the outside, and it's so much chaos. Like, we don't know what happened to Nikolai. Like, we know that he was part of a crowd, and that crowd started running. I know they're not going to kill him off screen, but still, we don't know where he is right now. The queen is gone. Of course, Alina's still looking for Mal. She has no idea where Mal is because she doesn't know that he's been taken. You've got her, Tamar, Adric, and Nadia are all together. Zoya is missing. I'm gonna assume Zoya is probably somewhere with Nikolai. They all got separated, but it's total chaos at this point. And of course, that's kind of where we leave the episode, because Alina and Kerrigan are kind of going at each other. When she blasts the nichevo'ya that's with him, the force of the blast sends both of them back, and it also brings down the roof. So she and Tamar just happen to escape, and then the episode ends. But I was like,
I'm confused about something. Can we just have a sidebar?
Sure, that's the sidebar. What's the sidebar?
The sidebar is Kerrigan discovered or was told where the spinning wheel was, where the royal family was, and he possibly where Alina was. Why didn't he bring all his whole force? Like, why?
Because as he said when he was talking to Alina, his whole purpose was not to come there and kill people. He was there for her. He was like, maybe I'll kill the Lance-offs, but he has a personal grudge against them. The rest of them folks, he don't care about. He just wants Alina. And right then there, Alina was like, I will never be with you. We will never be together. I will never be your partner. No, this is not happening.
Okay,
so you would think
then he's not thinking clearly. Then he's not.
I think part of that is his arrogance, just like what you just said about him being even with the amplifiers, he is still stronger than her. So maybe he felt like he didn't need a whole. I mean, you've got Kerrigan and you've got 2 nichevo'ya. You really don't need anything else because it's not like you can kill the nichevo'ya. You can't get rid of them. Alina is the only person who can come close to doing some damage to them. And you see what happened. She dissolved one of them and it formed right back. She was like, oh shit, my power's not working.
Right. So, and if her powers don't work, what is anyone else going to do?
Right. I'm just saying he
doesn't have to make a show of force in that way because people already know there are Grisha who are going to flock to him because again, his MO is that he is protecting the Grisha. They already know if they're not with them at the spinning wheel, they haven't come to seek a sanctuary there with the rest of the Grisha. They already know most of those Grisha are probably with Kerrigan. He doesn't need to bring a whole show of force right now because really you have a handful of Grisha and you've got all of these royal people and all of these regular ass Ravkans who are just there for the free food and drink. He don't need to bring all the Grisha.
But he could have ended it all. Like I'm still thinking that.
But then the season will be over, and where would we be?
I'm just saying. I feel like he's really not thinking clearly and strategically. Like he's letting. I guess what Baghra said is true. He's letting his emotions and feelings for Alina cloud his judgment. Because if he really wanted this shit to be over, he would have brought the full force of everybody, wiped them all out, and be like, "Okay, Alina, what's left? It's gonna be me and you." Like he could really play the long game. He's already 400 freaking years old. He could go somewhere, wait him out. Everyone she loves is gonna die eventually, and she's gonna become just like him. She's gonna become.
But I think that's another reason why he probably didn't bring that big show of force. Because what would it have accomplished? She would be by herself, but she's still stubborn. She's still not gonna go be with him. So
he can still just wait her out.
Yeah.
What is she gonna do? Go hang out with the crows until they all die? I mean,
right. So I just don't think. I think part of it is that he doesn't really need that show of force because he already knows he's more powerful than everybody there. And then he has 2 indestructible shadow monsters with him. I mean, think about it. Most of those people, they saw the nichevo'ya and they were like, fuck this. Deuces.
Audi. Not even trying to do nothing with that.
Right. Well, I mean, here's my question. Did anybody get the poor king off the stage? Because I don't think that fucker can walk. He was still sitting up there when Vasily got attacked by the nichevo'ya. Is the king still alive? Even?
I don't think so. I think. See, this
because if anything, Kerrigan definitely would have been like, "Oh yeah, kill that fucker there."
Yeah. Well, okay. So in my head canon, I think the nichevo'ya are extensions of himself. And they have his, like, I don't want to say personality, but his
thoughts.
Well, more like his primal, basic feelings.
Okay.
Like they have a little bit of his knowledge, but his hatred for the royal family,
the Lantsofts, yeah,
is going to be in those things.
Yeah.
So they're going to seek them out and kill them, whether he wants them to or not.
Right.
Because that's his feelings.
Right. Especially Vasily, because Vasily is the one who is using the army to kill Grisha. Like Alina said, they are dying on his orders. And granted, Nikolai is the one who's like, look, we're not about to do this. I offered them sanctuary. And maybe that's why he didn't go after Nikolai as hard, because Nikolai is at least treating the Grisha like they're human. He's offering them sanctuary. He's offering them safety. And he is trying to do essentially the same thing Kerrigan, well, kind of sort of the same thing Kerrigan started out doing. He just wanted the Grisha to be equal. He wanted them to stop fearing for their lives. Nikolai is actually trying to accomplish that by uniting Ravkans and Grisha, saying, hey, we can all we can all get along. We can all live together. We can thrive together. We can make peace together. So that in a sense makes him a little, probably takes him off of Kerrigan's radar, at least for a little bit. But now the fact that you're engaged to Alina, Kerrigan is like, yeah, I probably have to snuff him out too, just on principle. So
yeah, GP.
Yeah, I think his tenuous control of the nichevo'ya is mirroring the tenuous control he has on his own emotions.
Yeah,
because they're just basically emotional monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They are.
Because they only come out when he's in distress. So it's like they're basically controlled by his emotions. So anytime
Mm-hmm.
he spazzes out, they're like, "Oh, what happened? Who? What?"
Or when he feels threatened. Well, and I think that's interesting too, because what does he say? When he's threatened, or when he feels threatened, is when they start. So yeah, I guess that kind of, if you think about his emotions in that sense, like, oh, so you feel threatened a little bit more than you've ever let on, and here's the physical manifestation of that. Mm-hmm. Like, you have some fear, sir. Even though you may not admit that it's fear, right. They literally come out to protect you whenever somebody's threatening you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I just thought about this, like, they're made from Morzost. And so is it just another word for magic?
It's dark magic.
Okay, because I think we had this conversation early.
And yes, magic, yes.
About the small sciences not really being magic.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think I talked about magic always in most literature. Most iterations of magic always require a sacrifice or a cost.
Yeah.
The small sciences didn't really require any cost because it's something different. But magic always requires a sacrifice or a cost. And we see him paying for it physically. He's paying a cost for it.
Well, because the way that they explain it is the small science takes what's already there and creates something from it. Yeah. Merzost or magic, you are basically creating something from nothing. Okay. And yeah, like you said, there's always a cost for that. So when he was in the fold and he was being attacked by the Baghra, he probably used Merzost to, one, protect himself, and then two, to transform the Baghra into something different. And every time it comes out, every time the nichevo'ya comes out, it's taking a part of him. And that was why I was saying a couple of episodes ago, I think at some point he's going to lose control of the nichevo'ya, and they're going to start acting independently of him. Because if they're taking from him every time they form, at some point, there's not going to be much else that they can take from him, unless they literally take his life. And if he dies and they're still around, there's no controlling them then, period.
Yeah, it's just interesting because even when David was talking about the journal, Morozova's journal doesn't tell you what the cost is for using Morzost. And one of the first, I can't remember the name of the book, but Clive Barker has a series of books. And I think one of them, was it called The Illusionist? I can't remember what it was called, but that was when I first realized, because in that book, the main character they were doing illusions. Like he made a distinction between illusion and magic. And like when the person started using magic, shit started going bad. But like they had this thing where they were, as illusionists, they only use their abilities to create illusions.
Okay.
But when you start using magic, it was something totally different, and shit hit the fan. Because there's like strict regulations. You really should not use magic because of what it can do and the price you have to pay for it. And that's like this common thread through all of literature. So I just find it interesting that, she she attract that same thing. And then you have the small sciences, which is they're taking existing things and changing their form.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's this redirection of energy or reshaping matter as
Right.
opposed to creating matter from nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I meant to say it earlier when we were talking about the journal, and it just came back to me because we were talking about the nichevo'ya that he basically created out of himself, out of nothing. And, you know, he's paying for it.
He is. I mean, you can see it, like even though he still appears kind of sort of physically strong when we see him at first in this episode. You can see like towards the end when the nichevo'ya is facing off against Alina, and even when she does that blast and it blasts both of them back, when he gets ready to get up, he's holding his chest like his heart is hurting, like he's really hurt. And I was like, you're not as invincible or as indestructible as you used to be now, are you? And he got up and his hair was just all over the place and he was looking like this bitch. He was mad, but that's okay.
He'll get over it.
Alina and them have gotten away for now. I think the only other things that happen in this episode is that, like we said, Cash basically, Kaz basically, I guess for lack of better word, kicked Inej out of the crows, which, excuse me.
Whatever. We know better than that.
What did he say? I guess the indentures have a wraith now. Bruh, don't even play. That ain't happening.
We know better than that.
And then Jesper and Wyland officially, I guess, kind of got together. You look at you, Mike is like,
I want to have it.
I think they are so cute together. I like
yeah,
this.
They really are.
I like this ship.
Even though it's still, Jesper looks so much older than him. This is just
he doesn't look old to me. That's the thing.
He looks like a teenager. If Jesper looks like a grown man. This is weird.
Not even necessarily a grown man. I think we've had this discussion before. He doesn't necessarily look like a grown man. He just looks like a college student. It's like a college student dating like a freshman.
A high school student. Okay, yeah. Because like I said, there are certain expressions. Like I noticed, especially when they were having this conversation where Jesper was kind of like putting himself out there to tell Wyland that he was interested in him. Mm-hmm. Wyland, when he gets nervous or when he gets not necessarily embarrassed, but I think when he's feeling insecure about where he stands with Jesper, he does look very childish. It's the expression in his face. And I think it could even be the way his hair is done. But then there are certain facial expressions or certain times in the episode where he does look older to me. So I think that's just a play on the way Jack Wolf plays him. He played like there are times when Wyland is very much like when he's dealing with the demolitions, when he's dealing with his skills, he's very mature, he's very confident, and I think that makes him look older and act a little bit older. But when he is insecure, when he is uncertain of himself, he does take on a childish quality in his behavior. So I think that's the thing that's a little bit throwing off, but also I like it because it makes it kind of easy to read the character. Like, when Jesper was like, yeah, so, maybe I would have been the one to leave you that time. And it's like, he looked at Jesper with like, mm-hmm. And I felt like he kind of was like, okay, so I wasn't the one that was totally in the wrong for doing this. And it almost looked like it aged him a little bit. Like he didn't feel like, I don't know, it's something about that dynamic, but I'm over the fact that he looks young because we have people that look young who are older, and it just is what it is. But when he and Jesper are together, I love it. I love the dynamic. I love the chemistry. And I like the way that it's developing. The other couple that I'm noticing that I think they're putting it out there that they may be a couple or that they may have interest in each other, but I don't think anything is established yet, are Nadia and Tamar. I was like, oh, I don't think I remember this in the book. And if I did, I forgot, but kind of like that too. Like, yeah. But I don't know. Like I said, I like the Jesper and Wyland thing. I can't remember what I think their ship name is like Wesper or something like that. But they have a huge following.
Yeah. Well, if they've been hanging out together with Stormond, they must spend a lot of time together already, right? Was she not on the ship?
Oh, you talking about Tamar and Nadia?
Yeah.
No, because remember, Nadia was already at the spinning wheel when they came back.
Okay.
So, but I mean, we don't know how much time has passed. Like, I'm sure it's been probably a couple of weeks. But I mean, if they're spending a lot of time together because they are Alina's closest confidants at this point. Alina has that core group, and Nadia and Tamar are both part of that. So they've been spending a lot of time together. They're probably like, yeah, I kind of like her vibe. I like her vibe. And yeah, so it's cool. I like it. But
would you say Wesper?
I like it.
Wesper.
And then if you watch, like, I know Mike and I have both been doing this. Mike and I have been on a YouTube dive of all of these interviews that the cast has been doing.
It's fucking hilarious. It's awesome.
This cast, like, when there was a video I saw from a convention that happened in Paris back in January. I think it's called A Storm of Crows and Shadows or something like that. I was like, I need to have a convention like that here for Shadow and Bone, because I'm going to a Shadow and Bone convention. I'm just the way that this cast is with each other. You can see the closeness. You can see the friendship. You can see just how well they mesh with each other. And it really does come across on screen. And I'm like, I just want to be in the room and feel that energy.
Yeah.
But even with Jack Wolf, he was talking about playing the character because he had a huge, like, when he got cast and like just the interviews he's done, people are like, oh my God, he's Wyland. And he was like, I really just hope that, people enjoy what I brought to this character because I care about this character. The fact that I get to play a character like this, the fact that I get to play a queer character and, bring him to life and do all of these things. And he, like, Shadow and Bone fan base is one of those fan bases that is very loyal to the source material. They're also very loyal to these characters. And the fact that, like, I've not heard anybody say anything negative about his casting yet. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm here for it. I don't know where that whole thing is gonna go. I mean, right now everybody is kind of in a mess. Like, Mal and Alina are kind of, they're together but not together because she has to pretend like she's engaged to Nikolai, which we don't even know if Nikolai is alive at this point because of the nichevo'ya and this attack. And then you got Kaz and Inej that were kind of like, almost seemed like they were inching towards each other, and now they're kind of not, because Kaz is pissed off because what did he say? You chose some strangers over your team, and I can't have someone on my team who was unreliable. I was like, Kaz, if you don't shut the fuck up.
You stop. See,
and Nash has had your back.
Good and damn
she
well.
has killed for you.
But you know good and damn well that this shit is going, like, he's just blowing off steam because he got his ass kicked. He you know good and damn well he ain't letting Nash go nowhere.
He better not.
As much as he tries to push her away, even if he pushes her away, she comes back. She's like the tide. Like, she goes out a little bit, then comes right back. Goes out a little bit,
what he told her.
Right back.
when he was telling her about wanting her there, he walked up to her and he was like, promise me one thing. If this thing goes awry, you get out of the city as fast as you can. Go find your brother and live your life. The fact that he even told her to go find her brother after he spent all of last season talking about, oh, hope is stupid. You need to let it go, blah blah blah. I'm like, you are telling her in every single way that you care about her. And what was her response? She was like, if things go awry, Pekka Rollins he's gonna beg for his death.
She said it so matter of factly, like, oh, if things go sideways, he's gonna be dead.
He's dead.
He's a dead man. Dead man walking. Dead man walking.
Right. Exactly. Right. Because she didn't even like him when he said, if things go awry, meaning let's be honest, Pekka could have killed his ass. He was definitely trying. He was definitely trying. She didn't even like hearing that. And she was like, do what and go where? Oh no, if this thing goes awry, I'm coming for his ass. I'm gonna need Cass. Like, I know he's upset. I know he's mad because his little reveal plan didn't go the way it was. Like, he wanted that flourish and he wanted her there to witness. Yeah, I just asked this motherfucker to set you free and he signed. I know he wanted her to witness that. But you gotta look at the big picture, Cass.
Again, we need to realize that these are young people. These aren't 30, 40-year-old people. They act on impulse. So it's like his first impulse after almost dying was like, where the fuck are you? Didn't I tell you that I wanted to feel you in the shadows while I was doing this? And
that sounds so dirty. That sounds so dirty.
Look, that's exactly what he meant.
What you said.
That's what he meant. He's like,
you said what you said, and you meant it.
I said what I said. Look, but it's like, I mean, these are like 20-year-old, basically. God, I'm so fucking old. 20-year-old kids, and it's like they can run on impulse. So it's like you kind of have to give them a little leeway. You know, good and damn well that Kaz and Inej really care damn near, they love each other. Fuck it, they love each other.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, they love each other. They can't be an excuse in this world, because this world, those people grow up very quickly.
They do.
So a 20-year-old there is not the same as our 20-year-olds here.
Yeah, but I will say this though,
Kaz on them.
Kaz has trauma, and he's gonna have to work through that trauma. And he doesn't like. This is probably the first time that he has let anybody get as close to him as he's let them get, even just since they returned back to Ketterdam. The fact that when Jesper went with that little speech, oh, so what you're going to tell me is that you can't do this for me. I mean, that you can't do this without me. And yes, we might be upset with each other, but we're brothers and brothers fight. And the fact that he even just admitted to that, he was like, yeah, there's a cap on the tab, but everything else is true. All of it. That was him telling Jesper, you are my brother. I don't think he's ever said anything like that before, because it's always been, Jesper, boss, boss, boss. I don't think he's ever allowed himself to get that close because of the fact that he was also dealing with the tragic way he lost his real brother. And at some point, he has to realize, and maybe it took them being ambushed and Inej getting hurt the way that she did for him to realize, okay, you know what? This is my family. We have to take care of each other, and I have to start letting them in. Maybe I'm overreaching, but I feel like he's getting there. And then, for Inej to not be there after she said she would, I just think that it just hurt him. What was it that he said to Pekka Rollins? He was like, when Pekka said, I'm going to kill everyone you love. And he was like, see, that's your problem. The plan is, or the thing is to not let anybody get that close, because then you don't have anything to fear. He was like, that's your problem. You let somebody in. You had a son. That's somebody that you can't just write off and be like, oh, go over there. That's how he was able to get Pekka, because he knew that was the one thing Pekka was going to lay down everything for. And I think, that could be another reason why Cass keeps all of that stuff close to the vest, why he doesn't say the very obvious things, because you don't want somebody to understand, oh, these people are really important to me. It's one thing if you're just treating them like your employees, but if you actually start to care and show, and people start to see that you care about these people, then they can be used as leverage against you. So yeah, but I'm gonna need him to get it together.
He'll be all right.
Together.
He just needs to calm down. Then like cousin Neж ain't going nowhere. Getting damn well even though he told her here you're free, get the fuck on. She's like, I'm not going anywhere.
She probably like, I'm just gonna let him sleep that off.
Exactly. That's exactly what she's probably thinking. Like, yeah, sleep it off, motherfucker. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll come back tomorrow and see what we're gonna do next.
Right. Like what's next? I mean, we already know what's probably going to be next, because what was it that Nikolai said? They're going to look for Nishenya. He was like, this sounds like a job for the crows.
Yeah.
So we already know what they're about to do.
Exactly. They're getting ready to go. Yeah,
they're about to go to Shuhan.
Let's go steal a sword.
Right. A legendary magical sword. A mythical sword.
Magical sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the only other thing I think that really happened in this episode is that Baghra and Jenya escaped. So poor Jenya, when she saw what her face was.
Yeah.
Ooh, but Baghra sitting there breaking her hand.
All of her hands.
She didn't do all that. She was already pinkyless. All she had to do was slide that bitch off like that.
No, that was hurting. She was like, no, let's go for fresh paint. That's okay. Jenya she still can't tailor because she fixed it. But I was like, what are you about to do back? I was like.
Now, this is a question. So, okay. Jenya is a tailor, right? Yeah. But they're just a version of heart renders, right?
She is a version of what is the other one?
Because what's her name? Nina is a heart render, but she can do healing too.
She can do a little bit of healing, but I don't think
she's not good because it's not her specialty, but she can do it.
Yeah.
So is heart renders, are they healers?
Let me see. So healers are corporalki, and I think Jenya is kind of like she's a step away from corporalki. Like she can't do the healing in that sense. Like she can't do major healing. She can do like surfacey stuff. But her version of
fixing broken bones ain't no small task.
Yeah,
she can. Making I think fingers? That's more so like surfacey type thing. Like if it comes to like cuts or whatever, like when Marie got her throat slashed. Remember, we were like, just fix it. She can't fix those kinds of things. Healing like superficial cuts, healing broken bones, that might be something because it deals with like physical things, not like blood and stuff like that. But as far as her being a tailor, she's very rare. There's not that many tailors in existence. So she can probably do like the minuscule healing or the superficial healing, but I don't think she can do anything deep. Like if somebody cuts their arm off, I don't think she can fix that. Like with Adric, his arm being mangled because of the nichevo'ya, I don't think she would be able to fix that. That would have to be a healer.
Okay, so then what is Nina doing? Like,
I think Nina was just doing basic first aid.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what she was saying, because even when she interrupted when she interrupted Inesh and Cass in the last episode, you know, she was just basically, hey, like, I'm not a healer, but I can stitch her up, you know. And you did see like all the cloths, the needles, and the whatever they were using as far as the liquid to, I guess, disinfect her wounds or whatever. So I think she was just doing basic healing. You know, hey, yeah, I can stitch you up. I can put a Band-Aid on. Don't ask me to close up a wound or anything like that. Yeah. I don't think she can do any of that. So, but we are halfway through the season already.
It's crazy.
I'm just
these seasons are too short. I need them to be like at least 13 episodes. See, they're doing that Marvel shit. It's like Marvel be doing like 6 episodes. You're like, I need more.
But it's not just, I mean, Netflix is doing the eight episodes or 10 episodes on there. Amazon Prime is doing 8. It's like all of them are doing 8 episodes, and you're cramming so much stuff into the shows, which I will say, as far as Shadow and Bone, so far I don't feel too rushed. I feel like the pacing is good, especially the last couple of episodes, because it's especially if they're fitting, it seems like they're fitting content for books 2 and 3 into this season, but they're changing it up because they have the crows as part of the story. So what they're doing so far, I have no problem with it. I don't feel like it's being too rushed. Now what they do from the next episode on, as far as, you know, the search for Nishenya and, you know, whether or not we're going to figure out what the hell happened to Mal and all this other stuff, we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I think Anthony would be glad with the pacing that they're doing now, because he's not going to have to watch Mal and Alina walking through pretty much the whole fucking country trying to find the Firebird. He's not going to, I mean, because they just, well, I don't know what they're going to do as far as the Firebird, but as far as like this search for Nishenya, they're not going to show a whole bunch of that. They don't have the time to do that.
Yeah, I think they got my notes, because we don't have any of that in this. Because like I said, these people they're getting around. I mean, they are getting around quickly. I mean, it's almost as if they say, we need to go here, and then they're there.
Yeah, so they're cutting out a lot of the time, even if it's taking them days. Yeah, they're cutting out some of the unnecessary stuff.
Yeah, the editing has been pretty good too. The pacing is good. The editing is good. I don't feel like one story is getting more shine than another.
Okay.
And the cuts seem to be appropriate. Like, we're not leaving in the middle of conversations to go see what's going on somewhere else. Everything is kind of wrapped up before we.
It's flowing very well. Yeah.
Editing has been pretty good the last couple of episodes.
Yep. So, we have any final thoughts on this episode?
Shout out to Kerrigan for having the pimp fingers after he had control of Alina's thoughts. Like he left, he was like, "I'll come back for you," and then we're like dragged the fingers along her jaws. Like, was that necessary? That was not necessary.
I'm telling you, what, like you said, Lori said, Romeo Pimp.
The Romeo Pimp.
Like, you want to hate Kerrigan, you really do, but that motherfucker is so smooth and charming. It's kind of like,
yeah. It's like he's like, "I'll come back for you, baby," and it's like draws like.
What is it with you and the Morris Day impressions tonight?
Look, man, I grew up on the Mac. That's from like the Mac and all those blaxploitation movies. Like, yeah, trust you, baby. Don't you trust me, baby? You can trust me. It's like, you gotta talk smooth. You can't be like, "Yo, trust me, baby. I'll be back." You be like, "I ain't gonna be here." No. But it's like, man. Yeah, I'm just like.
What did you just say, Anthony?
What?
I'm your pusher, man.
I'm your pusher.
The song from
exactly.
from Superfly. Yeah.
But it's like, but I can't wait to see like what's going to happen next, because they basically got driven out of the castle. So it's like they got to go into hiding. So it'll be interesting to see what they do next, especially when they get ready to go after. They get ready to go on a quest for this.
Yeah.
For this precious,
the seabird,
two quests, the Firebird and the Shinya. So
Firebird and the Shinya.
So that's going to be interesting to see how they maneuver that. And then you have I'm just ready to see what the crows are about to do. Because like they are, I think they really are my favorite part of the story now. They really are. Not that I don't like the Grisha and the whole Alina Mal thing. Y'all know me. I'm a canon shipper. I know it's very boring, but I like their story. But I kind of feel like, okay, their story, if you really, like y'all said, if you follow the tropes, if you follow the storyline, Alina and Mal, they're gonna be fine. At least for the most part, I think. They're gonna be fine. I need to see what's going on with the crows. That's my thing. So yeah.
Well, Alina, Mal, and the crows, they all have plot armor. Everyone else is gonna die.
Yeah.
You still think Alina and Mal have plot armor after what y'all was saying earlier?
Yes, except Alina.
But this season, story, yes, they all of them have plot armor.
Yeah, well, Alina's story is going to end with her death. That's not plot armor. That's just the way her story is going to go.
That's just facts.
This is
facts. I mean, that's how it's going.
Okay.
But other than that, the crows and Alina and Mal all have plot armor. Everyone else,
I mean, it's like
as much as I love Tamar and Toya, like that's who I like. I like the twins.
I love the twins.
I like the twins.
I love the twins. And the casting for them is perfect.
Yeah. But if they die, I'm not gonna, I mean,
we will not speak that into existence.
Yeah, it's like the twins Zoya and Nikolai have plot. Don't necessarily have plot armor. They have like a plot helmet, like just partial armor, where it just like protects part of them. Like they might die, they might not die. You don't really know. So it's like, but
and there's a lot of family themes going on in this show too. If you really kind of pay attention, with Nikolai maybe being a bastard, then you have Nadia and Elric. Then you have the twins. We have Baghra and
Kirigan.
You have Zoya losing her family. You have a lot of family in this. Jenny and David basically finding each other to be a family.
Yeah.
So, you
finally after skirting around each other all of last season.
So,
but then again, I guess when I guess when you when you're part of a group that is hunted and you lose everything, that makes you say, okay, you know what? I don't have time to play around. If I like her, if I like him, I need to make that known. So yeah. So, but like I said, I feel like David is going to have some guilt, because Jenya and Baghra escaped. So you can pretty much assume they're probably going to go look for Alina, because that's what Jenya was going to do before she got caught. Once David sees her, he's probably going to feel some guilt. And then I don't know what she's going to feel. So, I mean, he
shouldn't feel guilt. What was he supposed to do?
I know, but still. He probably will still feel like I could have done something, or maybe he'll feel guilt about the fact that he couldn't do anything. Like, maybe I should be more, So, yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying it was Kirigan.
It was
arguably the most powerful being on the planet, and
with indestructible shadow monsters now. Yeah. But we'll see how that goes. So anyway, for now, I guess that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. You can follow us on our YouTube channel. You can chat with us on our Discord channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.